Girls, come on. Leave the saving of the world to the men? I don't think so. I don't think so.
We're in Toronto. We just landed. Our plane crashed. It's upside down.
The woman pilot, I get frightened. I don't know what it is. I get frightened. I feel fear. She's up there like, this is not right. Even a trans pilot, I'd be happier because I'd be like, at least at one point she knew how to fly.
Absolutely ridiculous. This airline promoting unmanned flight with all women pilots or all women crew just had a plane crash. This is what happened when feminism goes too far. Honestly, let's look at some of their advertising to see how woke they have become.
Live fast, die young, bad girls give it well. Live fast, die young.
No, we ain't giving no hold. I ain't Romeo and I'll hold. Making a party, chocolate Barbie, waiting on me for
You gotta.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow.
What is your name as a group?
The Click.
Click or click?
Click.
Let's do it.
Absolutely not funny, honestly. This is sad to see what happens with this airline.
Somebody say
Slave.
I don't think that's the right choice to do. Or just look at what happens when you promote gender over skill.
Everybody, most people appear to be okay. We're all getting off.
Thank God there were no victims on this fight. Thank God everybody's safe. Only 8% injured. That's a miracle, if you ask me. They even go as far as banning comedians.
This is Jesse with Delta Airlines. I am just giving you a call regarding an incident that occurred following one of our recent flights. You have been placed on Delta's permanent no-fly list, and your upcoming travel on August 11th has been canceled. Your ticket will be refunded, but if you have any additional questions, again, you can reach me at the number provided. Thanks so much. Bye.
Yo, I was just on this fucking plane.
Okay, so I'm never allowed on a Delta airplane ever again. Ah, shucks. They said the plane is unsafe when me, a comedian, is on the plane because of a tweet, a joke that they didn't like. I'm unsafe for the plane? That doesn't look very safe. Are you gonna put all of those people involved on the no-fly list?
Absolutely ridiculous. They are as woke as they can't even take a joke. Honestly, this is going way too far, and they are trying to blame it on Trump.
To pick up on the conversation you were just having, though, in terms of the recent string of aviation incidents, Tom, this is going to yet again raise the concern about FAA staffing, air traffic control staffing. Now, this is a Canadian air traffic control tower, and this is under Canadian authority once it crosses the border. And yet, as you know, there has been this talk about maybe staff cuts at the FAA as a part of President Trump's effort to trim down the federal workforce. And yet, as you also know, the FAA has been complaining for years that they are understaffed in critical job positions, especially air traffic control. I was having a conversation with somebody today about whether air traffic control in America is being affected by the staff cuts. So far, not to their knowledge, and yet other positions related to maintaining critical equipment appear to have been cut. So this is going to feed.
Of course, Donald Trump is not at fault right there, and the CEO of Delta Airlines says it right.
The Trump administration recently fired many employees of the FAA administration. Do those cuts worry you, and do you think that impacts the safety? I know you just said it's the safest way to travel, but after looking at all these mishaps, a lot of people are very nervous. Do these cuts affect you?
The cuts do not affect us, Gail. I've been in close communication with the Secretary of Transportation. I understand that the cuts at this time are something that are raising questions, but the reality is there's over 50,000 people that work at the FAA, and the cuts, I understand, were 300 people, and they were in non-critical safety functions. The Trump administration has committed to investing deeply in terms of improving the overall technologies that are used in the air traffic control systems and modernizing the skies. They've committed to hiring additional controllers and investigators and safety investigators. So, no, I'm not concerned with that at all.
Exactly, and he's 100% right about this.
But it appears to me with the conditions, it was a snowy and icy runway. I don't know what the landing condition was right there at the beginning of the runway. Generally, that's always a little bit slipperier than the place where they put on reverse thrust and get on their brakes. But with gusty conditions, it is possible, but very rare, to get a severe gust right at touchdown, and for the pilot to correct from that gust if the gust was blowing them perhaps off the runway. And that airplane with the wings in the back of the fuselage, if you overcorrect and you're very close to the ground or in the flare, it's possible to dig the wing in. And when that happens, it could very easily flip the aircraft. But again, it's a very rare combination of weather and wind events. So, but that's the likely culprit there.
Well, keep in mind that this was the pilot on that plane. She is still very young and very inexperienced, and let's hear the truth about her.
The first officer was 26-year-old Kendall Swanson, who had just received her airline transport pilot certificate 6 weeks prior to the accident. She is also a graduate of the University of North Dakota, December of 2022. North Dakota has a very strong aviation program. She interned at Alaska Air Service in Anchorage for the summer of 2021, and in the fall of 2022 became a flight instructor, a common way to build hours to qualify for the airline transport pilot, the ATP certificate. For the following year, Swanson also served as supervisor of flight for the school from October of 2022 to November 2023. In July 2023, she received the Instructor of the Month award. Her ATP certificate is a restricted ATP. She does not meet the pilot and command experience required. And let me explain what a restricted ATP certificate is. Before the Colgan air crash in 2009, only the captain had to meet the 1,500-hour threshold to be the pilot in command. After Colgan, the FAA changed it that even first officers needed the 1,500 hours. But to stem the risk of a pilot shortage, the FAA created a restricted ATP that some pilots could get with as little as 1,000 hours. With a restricted ATP, you can't be the pilot in command, or the PIC. For a regular ATP certificate, you need to have the minimum 1,500 hours and be at least 23 years old. But for the restricted, you can be 21 years old. And only pilots who graduate from an FAA-approved university aviation program are eligible for the restricted ATP.
Well, we all know what happens now. She was basically very much young, very much inexperienced, with very little hours, and if you combine that with the very, very difficult landing condition right there with wind and ice and snow and cold, then this leads to an accident. Well, let's hear what Trump has to say about this.
I'd like to request a moment of silence for the victims and their families, please. I speak to you this morning in an hour of anguish. We are one family, and today we are all heartbroken. We're all searching for answers. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine?
Are you saying this crash was somehow caused and the result of diversity hiring? And what evidence have you seen to support these claims?
It just could have been. We have a high standard. We've had a much higher standard than anybody else. And there are things where you have to go by brain power. You have to go by psychological quality. And psychological quality is a very important element of it. These are various very powerful tests that we put to use, and they were terminated by Biden. And Biden went by a standard that's the exact opposite. So
exactly, you have to put standards in place. You have to put skilled and competence first and not sex or gender. That's what I believe. And this is what President Trump is doing right now. Destroying all DEI initiatives from the Biden administration.
Hey, this is HUD Secretary Scott Turner. I want to say hello to all the American people. It has been a phenomenal first 30 days serving in the Trump-Vance administration. We have been winning for the American people, winning. As an example, DEI at HUD is dead. It's gone.
DEI is dead at the VA.
DEI is dead at the EPA.
We've killed DEI at the Department of Energy. We're bringing meritocracy, the American way, back.
One of the first actions that we took was to take down the Biden-era equal access rule with President Trump's leadership to ensure that biological truth is restored back at HUD as it pertains to HUD-funded facilities like women's shelters.
Proud to be on Trump's team to get rid of the nonsense and bring back common sense to Washington, D.C. At the Energy Department, we started with a focus on adding energy, not subtracting energy. That was the agenda of the Biden administration.
Well, this is very tragic what happened there. Honestly, I'm not so sure if these DEI policies are gonna bring anything. Hopefully, Trump is able to destroy all DEI policies and make sure we hire people based on how competent and how skilled they are, and not whether they are black or white, or a man or a woman. Obviously, in this case, it was a combination of many factors, including the fact that she was very, very much inexperienced. But as he said, some people feel a lot safer when it is a man who drives, when it is a man who flies a plane, and for good reason. If you ask me, let me know what you think about this in the comment below this video. I hope you enjoyed it with me today. Thanks for staying with me till the end. As always, I appreciate you being here. And click right there to watch the next video, and I will see you there. Bye bye.